disappoint you. It's a News Extra night, and tonight is truly extra. The biggest economic show is in town, and we have it right here. Those who love going on strikes, we have a message from the federal government for you. The girl child makes a big show on tonight's outing, and why not? Today is her day, and we will birth in Kaduna, where something big happened to primary school teachers there. It's interesting and will intrigue you too. We have stories on politics, an update on Dezani Alison Maduekwe's property case, and of course, a flurry of stories on agriculture. The monkeypox matter is not left out. Tonight, it is really monkeypox or something bigger. Find out. Let me not go on and on. Let's get on the business of the day. You're welcome. I am Fatima Abbas Hassan, and this is News Extra. Now we begin with issues of labor. Worried over the spate of industrial crisis being suffered by the country and its consequences on the economy, the federal government has approved the implementation of the existing no work, no pay provision in the law governing industrial relations. The government has also taken steps towards curtailing private practice by medical doctors in public health institutions. This was part of resolutions taken at the meeting of the Federal Executive Council meeting today, as State House correspondent Adam Sambu now reports.
President Muhammadu Buhari presided over the meeting, which considered and approved the report of the Technical Committee set up in 2016 on industrial relations matters, especially in the public service.
The report emphasized the need for government to implement the law on no work, no pay, captured in the Trade Dispute Act of the Federation, Section 43 to be precise, says that workers they have a right to disengage or remove their services from an employer if there's a breakdown in their discussions or negotiations. But for the period that the worker does so, the employer should not pay. And those periods are to be counted as non-pensionable times. It's a period of work. That's what the law says. So Council today re-emphasized that that law is still in situ.
The Labour and Employment Ministry has also been mandated to ensure that henceforth collective bargaining agreements between the government and the organized labour are appropriately signed and domiciled in the ministry, while trade unions must have term limits clearly spelled out in their constitutions and respected by all to check the sit-tight syndrome by labour leaders. Another memo on diving at work regulations presented by the Ministry of Labour and Employment also scaled through.
The essence of this regulation is that underwater activities have to be regulated. Those who go underwater have also to be certified. These have become necessary because a lot of underwater activities, especially the professional type, which involves marine activities, oil and gas, construction, and energy. These jobs have been found out to foreigners. Under the claim and guise that the Nigerian divers are not satisfied. When these companies come here in oil and gas, they have to fly people in. It's at great loss to the country because it's foreign exchange that is being lost.
The Federal Executive Council also approved a comprehensive job evaluation in the health sector towards ensuring appropriate payment for services rendered.
Council also looked at the issue of residency training program and decided that the training should last for a fixed term of 7 years, and that after training for 7 years, individuals should exit from the program so that other people can come into the program. Council has also decided to look into the issue of private practice by medical doctors in the public sector, and a committee has been set up to look extensively into that issue. The law of the land does not allow any public officer to do anything other than farming.
The Minister of Health also brought the council up to speed in respect of the public health situation in the country, especially on the tropical monkeypox disease, which has already recorded 33 suspected cases in 7 states of the country. Many of the cases, he however said, do not fit into the classic prototype of monkeypox. Before the end of today or early tomorrow, we should be able to confirm what exactly are we dealing with. Is it truly monkeypox? What is obvious is that we have a disease that is close to the pox family. Our advice to Nigerians will be not to panic, report all suspected cases. Dr. Isaac Adewale, who also gave status report on the declining cases of Lassa fever and cholera, however said there is an ongoing outbreak of yellow fever in parts of the country. 10 cases, he said, have already been recorded, and plans are therefore on for a reactive campaign as well as nationwide vaccination against the disease. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Thank you, Adamu. Now, the federal government is using the Nigerian Economic Summit to explain some of its economic policies. Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo at the plenary session of the summit says government is focused on driving productivity through innovations in agriculture and manufacturing. Correspondent Vivian Idepefo has that report.
The interactive session was blunt, frank and open. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, who fielded questions from the moderator and participants, also responded to submissions by co-panelists. He refuted allegations that government efforts are cosmetic, pointing out that the figures and enthusiasm of Nigerians show concrete evidence in that direction, beginning with the SME clinics held in 7 states so far.
There's nothing cosmetic about ensuring that businesses are registered within 28 or 48 hours with proof. There's nothing cosmetic about ensuring that NAFDAC is able to deliver on its mandate within a given time frame. And there's absolutely nothing cosmetic about going to the MSMEs themselves, having them interact directly with the regulators. And obviously there's nothing cosmetic also about ensuring that we're able to provide the best environment for all of these MSMEs and businesses to grow.
Other panelists dwelt on the need to look at issues and deal with them holistically to ensure that Nigeria remains a self-sustaining investment hub. They argued that localization should be inclusive and job-creating, while execution speed by relevant agencies must conform to global standards.
Investors want to go to countries where they see the locals are doing well, because it shows the locals are doing well in their country, that the business environment is good. Because what is good for the locals is also good for the foreign investors.
We don't get so frustrated that we leave. In fact, we double down. We've invested $100 million over the last 10 years, and we expect to invest more. This is a great country with great potential, and I don't think anybody in this room is confused about that. We certainly aren't.
The Nigerian Economic Summit provides a platform for engagement between the public and private sectors to improve on their working relationship while repositioning the country's economy for global competitiveness. In Abuja, Vivian Idepefo, NTA News.
And I'm now being joined in the studio by Dr. Lucia Gon, the Director of Research, Nigerian Economic Summit Group. It's a pleasure to have you in the studio.
Thank you for having me.
Now, this is the 23rd edition of the Nigerian Economic Summit, and it featured a pitching, event for startups. The first of its kind, I will say, since the birth of the summit. Yeah. What informed this edition, and to what extent will this impact on entrepreneurial growth?
Okay, thank you. Let me start by saying that one of the core objectives of this summit this year is to try and revisit the issue of productivity, employment issue in Nigeria. And we also know that these issues are very key in the implementation of the economic growth, economic recovery and growth plan that the government has already rolled out. And so if you look at the case of Nigeria in terms of population, we are very known globally. In fact, according to one of the reports, international reports, it says by 2050, Nigeria is going to be the 3rd largest country in terms of population in the whole world. Okay. That's after China and India, overtaking America, USA. That's a huge responsibility. And so we need to look at our domestic potential. We need to start thinking Nigeria. And in terms of the population of people who are already engaging in SMEs, far above 30 million. So the question is, what are we going to do now, or how prepared are we now to face the coming challenge? If we are not prepared now, it's going to be a big challenge. But if you are prepared now, it's going to be a huge opportunity. That informed why we included this in the debate this year. And the reason is to say, okay, let's have young Nigerians who are doing, who have great potentials, who have great plans, who are doing great at their own level. Let's showcase them. Let's bring them to come and meet with their potential investors, because again, you talk about the access to capital as being one of the major problems of SMEs in Nigeria. And so the idea is to say, okay, come, let's say what you are doing. Let's have people around who say, okay, I'm interested in what you are doing, or okay, I'm interested in your business. I can give you some advice. I can nurture you. Because that's very key. If you look at some countries in the world today, Switzerland, for instance, has always been ranked the first country on the ranking of ease of doing, competitiveness, competitiveness global for the past 7 years. And one of the key drivers of that position is because they paid attention on vocational training and skill development.
Okay. Now, this year's theme focuses on the actualization of the economy recovery and growth plan.
Yep.
What gaps do you foresee being closed within the next 1 year?
Yeah, if you, just like you have reported now, if you listen to the session with the vice president, it was blunt, it was open, and the vice president was very sincere. One of the key solutions that we foresee that will likely be implemented within this year is that issue of the ease of doing business. You have several laws that are already in the process of being passed that will eventually aid doing business, especially as it affects the SMEs. Okay. You also have government trying to pay attention to that difficulty of very high interest rates that are making the young entrepreneurs not to be able to have access to capital. And so, to all, that's very key, because that's at that level we'll be able to see to the issue of increasing in unemployment rate. We're already doing about 14%, and if you had the underemployment with that, we'll go to something like 35%, and that is massive. So the key is to make sure that the people who have something to do, who have the potential to have that access to get whatever finance they want to, and it's not that easy. But I think the different laws that are being passed now, the executive order by the vice president, or the Anchor Borrower program, all are playing together to make sure that it's becoming easier for these people to get access to capital. And then
so what would you say is the value of this summit to the growth of the Nigerian economy?
Yeah, I want to believe you know already. This is the 23rd, and this is the only summit or platform that brings together both the public and the private sector to talk and to look at the gap in the economy. So last year we talked about Made in Nigeria, and the challenge was we are in recession period. Good. But how do we come out of this? How do we look ahead? That also led to the issue of economic recovery and growth plan.
That's right.
And government yielded to that. So we think this year we shouldn't just leave that ARGP plan and say, okay, let's talk something else. Then we started thinking, let's talk about what are the things that we can do to implement it, to make sure that we actualize the plan. And that is the whole essence. So NESG and the summit has always been key to the development agenda or plan of the federal government.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lucia Gon. He is the Director of Research, Nigerian Economic Summit Group. I'm moving on to Washington, D.C., where the global economic outlook has seen a marginal increase in 2017 as global economic recovery takes form. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, Tuesday announced that global growth is strengthening and is broad-based, but pockets of negative growth and concern over debt levels mean that policymakers must not be complacent. The details with Leah Katun Babatunde from Washington, D.C.
The World Economic Outlook for the year 2017 and 2018 has just been marginally upgraded by the International Monetary Fund, IMF. This upgrade is also seen in sub-Saharan Africa, with countries like Nigeria leading the pace. Now, the driving forces, of course, have been attributed to an increase in production output for oil and, of course, agriculture, which has made some significant improvement in boosting the Nigerian economy. The pickup that started in 2016 gathered steam in the first half of 2017, and continued recovery in global investment supports stronger manufacturing activity. IMF Research Department Director Maury Upsfeld said the fund was pleased to raise its growth forecast for this year and next by 0.1% and expects global growth this year to be 3.6% and next year 3.7%. The report indicates the strength in the euro area, Japan, emerging Asia, emerging Europe and Russia are powering the boost. The IMF had some words of warning against complacency in the current growth environment and laid out a tripod of steps in dealing with the identified challenges: structural reforms, cautious monetary policy, as well as financial stability.
In the short term, the excessive youth unemployment that afflicts many countries urgently deserves attention.
What are the implications for Nigeria and sub-Saharan Africa?
There's a really significant amount of heterogeneity. What we see for the headline numbers is a pickup in growth this year.
I mean, the contribution of agriculture is some positive development. I mean, it also confirms the fact of a few of the developments that have been taking place in that sector.
As the interest rate is high, even if you have all the money in the world, nobody's going to access it. You put in so much in agriculture at a very high interest rate, you're not going to make profit.
Nigeria is projected to grow by 0.8% in 2017 and 1.9% in 2018. From Washington, D.C., I'm Lekatin Babatunde, NTA News.
And back home, the Central Bank of Nigeria urged to do more to protect bank customers from excess charges as manufacturers decry low patronage of made in Nigeria goods. Amechi Pius has details on our business news segment.
It's midweek and nice to have you join us on Business News. Nigerians have continued to react to the recovery of excess charges by the Central Bank of Nigeria imposed on bank customers by the Central Bank of Nigeria. Those who spoke to NTA Business News want the Apex Bank to go beyond recovering such funds, but initiate measures to mitigate the act by some commercial banks, as well as sanction erring banks.
You charge us for one thing and another level you charge us again. So why should we continue to have that? It will be a welcome idea.
Are they refunding every customer his own share of the recovery?
They are exploiting two things. They are exploiting the economics of pursuing such things, and then they are exploiting the fact that people are not informed. They are also exploiting the fact that people are poor and weak and voiceless. They don't have voice to pursue such things.
Although the banks have argued that some of the charges are as a result of system errors, financial experts have the opinion that the development poses great challenge for banks' internal control units to be more proactive and effective.
Sometimes people don't enforce their right because they don't even know they have a right. Imagine looking at a very big bank with a very big brand, and you see a poor person that is losing 1,000 naira. It can't be encouraged to challenge that big brand. So you have to let people know that there is power. And when such thing is picked up, the government should be vigorous in enforcing that regulation and penal. The penalty should be high, such that that person who reported it should be rewarded.
However, the Central Bank of Nigeria had in the last 3 years recovered over 50 billion naira and had so far disbursed a total sum of 43.92 billion naira. Low patronage of made in Nigeria goods has been identified as one of the problems faced by manufacturers. This is despite efforts by the federal government to reposition the sector. Nigerians' increasing penchant for imported goods has remained a source of worry to operators who spoke to the president of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, Frank Jacobs.
One of our cardinal rules is that your products must conform with required standard. And these products are usually regulated by Standards Organization of Nigeria or NAFDAC, and you must be duly registered by these two organizations, or one of these organizations, as the case may be, for you to become member of MAN. So if you are a member of MAN, your products must meet local standard and international standard.
He said Nigerians must realize that the growth of the industry can only be guaranteed by Nigerians. MAN's president added that when manufacturers do not make sale, they will be forced out of business, which translates to unemployment and poverty. And here are details of stock market report today. A look at market trends at the close of business on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange showed that the OSHA index finished at 35,652.82 points. Market capitalization ended at 12.6 billion naira. Investors committed 1.83 billion naira to more than 336 million shares. Surplus with a 7 naira 51 kobo gain led other gainers. Nigerian Brewers was ahead in the losers category with a 4 naira 9 kobo loss. And that ends business news this midweek. Many thanks for watching. The news continues shortly. Please stay with us.
Thank you, Amici. I'm back now. We're taking a focus on the girl child. The Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, has reiterated the commitment of the federal government to rescuing and bringing back the remaining Chibok girls still in the hold of the terrorist group Boko Haram. At a separate meeting with representatives of the UNFPA and a non-governmental organization, Save the Children, the Vice President said the Buhari administration was deeply concerned about the future of Nigerian children, especially the girl child. State House correspondent Jide Onifade completes the report.
Blessing Akam is the best female student in the just concluded 2016-2017 Junior Secondary School Certificate Examination in the Abuja metropolis. She is here presenting a certificate and what she and the rest of her club members stand for: the safety of the children, especially the rights of the girl child. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says experience has shown over the years that the girl child has capacity as the male child. Every day, the Vice President says government raises concern over the welfare of the Nigerian children, especially the girl child. Making reference to the Chibok girls, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says he is optimistic government actions would soon lead to the rescue of the Chibok girls, while those already rescued are doing well.
But we want to be able to challenge men and people all over the world about these sorts of behavior. And this is one of the reasons why we're advocating that this kind of conduct must be met with the greatest possible objection and force.
Similarly, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo gave audience to representatives of the United Nations Population Fund, who are in the country for Family Planning Reference Group meeting, where Nigeria has committed to helping its women and girls by improving birth spacing.
To say that Nigeria benefits from leadership. You have leadership that is committed to improving the health and the lives of millions of women and girls who depend on government, who depend on their own efforts in communities, and who depend on international solidarity and goodwill.
And we're going to build on the momentum that Dr. Babatunde helped create in expanding what are life-saving programs for women and children that benefit them, benefit their families, benefit their communities, and have a tremendous economic benefit for the country.
No investment can yield better returns than investing in the girl child. And when you invest in the girl child, you are actually investing in the entire nation. And so, to me, it's an imperative, it's something that we must do. When we educate them, we're increasing their options, we're taking them out of poverty, we are going to delay marriage, and we also give them the opportunity to make right choices.
And as Nigeria joins the rest of the world to mark the International Girl Child Day, the Minister of Health, Isaac Adewale, urged Nigerians to support government in ensuring good health for mother and child. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
In the meantime, concerted efforts are being made globally to ensure a better future for the girl child, banking on the power of the adolescent in achieving the Vision 2030. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday, in this next report, takes a look at how this can be achieved.
15 naira.
Records have shown that the engagement of underage girls in hawking and petty trading is largely responsible for the alarming rate of sexual violence against the girl child.
I feel disturbed when I see my fellow girl or student walking on this road.
No parent will throw the child out to hawk if there's enough income flow in the family. So women empowerment is another way in which we can reduce the hawking on the street, because it makes them prone to rape and other exploitative practices.
To achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls is the 5th goal of the Sustainable Development Goals SDG Vision 2030.
My name is Oki Ejiro Esther and I'm 17.
Oki Ejiro Esther will be 30 by 2030. She is calling for more protection.
I feel bad, I feel terrible because we are not protected. We are not being given what we deserve. We need to be more valued.
To liberate girls facing these challenges, Nigeria joins the rest of the world to mark the International Day of the Girl Child.
Poverty, culture and religion are some of the factors child rights advocates say are militating against their campaigns.
Because there are some communities that we've been told we were stoned. They will embarrass you, so you need laws guiding them.
Free and compulsory education for every child is also being advocated.
The girls want to be well taken care of as they are future mothers and hope of the nation. Adebola, Brooklyn Sunday, NTA News.
Thank you, Adebola. I now have in the studio Azuka Menkiti. She is an education specialist from UNICEF Nigeria Country Office. Good to have you on our program tonight.
Thank you very much.
Now, the theme for this year's celebration is Power of the Adolescent Girl Vision 2030. What would you say informed the decision, for the choice of this theme?
Well, every year, like you know, since 2011, the United Resolution established the Day of the Girl Child. And every year, for this year, for instance, the theme, the Power of the Adolescent Girl Vision 2030, is looking at the achievement of the SDG.
Okay.
SDG came with renewed energies to bridge every gap around inequalities and inequities. And a lot of, all the goals within the SDGs are interlinked to ensure that nobody is left behind. So this year, the theme of the International Day of the Girl Child, Power of the Adolescent Girl Vision 2020, is around ensuring that the girl child recognizes who she is, begins to appreciate who she is, and beyond that, she's empowered with a lot of information that gives her voice, that gives her confidence, that gives her self-esteem, that makes her begin to appreciate herself and begins to value herself much more than she has ever done. So this year, a lot of activities are being organized by UNICEF in partnership with other organizations, with government, and even the civil society organizations. So this year, UNICEF and our partners are organizing a series of activities to empower this girl with life skills, to empower this girl with confidence, to build her confidence to the level where she's able to stand up for herself and defend herself within her own environment. So we are bringing a lot of girls to Abuja next week to build their skills on leadership, to create self-consciousness in them, to get them to interact with series of female role models, to get them to meet with so many people who will inspire them, to get them to begin to address all forms of distractions, especially to education within themselves.
So how would you describe the situation of the Nigerian girl child?
The Nigerian girl child is doubly disadvantaged. Doubly disadvantaged.
Why doubly?
Because the Nigerian girl child faces so much challenges.
Okay.
She has to deal with issues around sociocultural barriers that inhibits and impedes her potentials to development. She's dealing with issues of economic barriers because her parents are struggling within a context where people find it difficult to feed. So even the direct and indirect cost of education begins to form issues around whether this child is able to be enrolled or retained or complete education. She's also struggling with issues of policies and policy implementation. I must say that Nigerian government has done well in bringing up a lot of policies, but the problem is around implementation of these policies. So UNICEF is working with government to ensure that while we have these policies in place, we must ensure that these policies are actually implemented. So these issues that are inhibiting the girl child from achieving her potentials are addressed, especially her right to access education in Nigeria.
Thank you very much. I wish UNICEF more success in its advocacy for the girl child. I've been speaking with an educational specialist from UNICEF Nigeria Country Office, Azuka Menkeni. Now, moving on to other stories of the day, I want to give you a poser. As a parent, if an exam is set for your primary 4 child or ward, and the child's teacher is asked to sit for the same exam, and he or she fails, what would be your recommendation? If you will recommend sack, then you are in the league with the Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai, whose government plans to disengage the services of about 22,000 primary school teachers who failed to pass some exams set for primary 4 pupils in the state. Muhammad Umar Ajingi is standing by to give us the details.
Kaduna State government made primary school education free, a development that brought about sudden increase in enrollment of pupils in schools, which is overstretching the available facilities. The quality of education at the primary level is also being compromised by a high number of unqualified teachers. To address the issue, teachers in primary schools were sometimes back subjected to competency tests, out of which 66% of them failed, necessitating the measure taken by government at the stakeholders meeting.
The previous government had given them 5 years to create their qualifications, and luckily for us, the 5 years ended, I think, last year or the year before. So what we did was to test our 33,000 primary school teachers. We gave them the primary 4 exam. That 66% of them failed to get 75%. So we're in the process of disengaging over 20,000 unqualified teachers, and we have almost concluded plans to advertise and engage at least 25,000 new teachers that will bring into the system.
Titus Amba is the state chairman, Nigerian Union of Teachers.
Was given the responsibility of conducting this very competency test. And it was resolved, including the labor leaders that were there and the government officials that were there, that yes, having seen the kind of test that was given to our teachers, we agree that the benchmark should be 60%. Surprisingly, we were meant to understand through media that the cutoff mark is 75, not 60.
Effort to hear from the Kaduna office of Teachers Registration Council, the regulatory body of teaching profession, on the development was not successful, as they declined commenting on the issue.
The pupils are here playing. They don't even have an idea on the decision taken on behalf of them. But anyway, it remains to be seen when and how this serious policy statement is going to be implemented. In Kaduna, I am Muhammad Umar Ajingi, NTA News.
And we now go to our Kaduna Network studio live to join Adamu Muhammad Mansour, the Permanent Secretary, Kaduna State Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, who will be shedding more light on this decision of the state government. A very good evening to you.
Good evening, Fatima.
Now, it's amazing that teachers fail the exams meant, for primary 4 pupils. How did the state get to that level?
Well,
The state got to this level because of the politicization of the recruitment of teachers by the previous administration. When this administration came in, it did a needs assessment and also made quality education a priority in the state. And that was even the reason why 34% of the budget was dedicated to improving quality of education in the state and also improving access to education in the state. And before now, in 2012, the same teachers went through a test. The result of the test indicated that there were gaps that need to be filled, and some of these teachers were given the opportunity to improve themselves. In 2015, National Open University was also commissioned to assess our teachers, and an examination was carried out of which about 10,000 of those teachers were found to be unqualified. And in 2017, to be precise, in June 2017, the same teachers were asked now, after that window of 6 months, to take this examination. And to our surprise, quite all right, there had been some improvement, because during the other period, only 8,000 were able to make 75 and above. But this time around, over 11,000 made 75 and above for primary school examination. So the decision of the government is that primary education is a very, very important foundation that needs quality teachers to teach the pupils that we have in that level of education. Because all of us are all products of good primary education, and that is why we are where we are today.
Okay, now we hear that 25,000 teachers, are to be employed as replacements. How feasible is this, and what happens to those being disengaged?
$25,000 teachers are concerned. What we envisage is to have a ratio of one teacher to 35 to 40 pupils in the class. As such, the number even that we require is more than 25,000. But because we have a data bank, a database where all graduates of colleges of education, universities, uploaded their documents, so we have a reservoir of qualified Nigerians that can comfortably get employed to replace these teachers. Because unemployment is also another issue. We have very, very qualified Nigerians, Kaduna State citizens, that are qualified to teach. But unfortunately, because of the economic situation in the country, they were not given the opportunity to get employed. But now it's a chance for them to get employed, so that quality that we are talking about, quality education, is put in place in Kaduna State. Please.
Thank you very much, Adamu Mohammed Mansour, Permanent Secretary, Kaduna State Ministry of Education, Science and Technology. And still remaining with education, the Ministry of Education says the report making rounds in the post-UTME examinations already scheduled is completely false and without any foundation. In a statement signed by the Ministry, Director Press, Mrs. Priscilla Ihoma, stated that Mr. Ben Gong, who purportedly issued the statement, ceased to be a staff of the Federal Ministry of Education since November 2016. The ministry urges the media to always cross-check facts with the relevant officials of the ministry, particularly when such sensitive matters of national importance are involved. You can watch this news live online via the NTA Mobile App, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or at the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. Up ahead, former Petroleum Minister loses 56 houses to Nigeria. The details of these and other stories when we return after the break. Join us again.
From 1967 to 1970, Nigeria went through a horrifying civil war. It didn't matter who was wrong or right. Everybody suffered. Those who fought that war say it should never happen again.
So a lot of people will say, but you were leading the first one. Yes, I led the first one. I don't think a second one is necessary. We should have learned from that first one. Otherwise, the dead would have been to no avail, would all have been in vain.
The words of our elders are full of wisdom.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
Hey, now who they here? My name now Mr. Shortcut. I didn't mind my money. Now cheap one, I dey buy. From that, we say. Now to buy cheap one. Hey, now one kind cable for my yard. A cheap building material where we take build my office. I think say I dey save money. Office building collapse and fire burn my house.
You don't see what happened to Mr. Shortcut? Well, Standards Organization of Nigeria, SON, don't ready for action and say enough of pain, loss and wastage. And if you see product where no dey correct, call the SON office way near you or SON help desk. Standards Organization of Nigeria, improving life through standards.
Availability. Check. Confidentiality. Check. Integrity. Check. Transformation in action. The 6 years of Governor Abdul Aziz Abubakar Yari in Zamfara State clearly manifest good governance and foresight. In fact, transforming the agrarian state to the promised land. Welcome to Zamfara, a state being governed by a visionary and dynamic leader whose magic finger is touching every aspect of human lives. No wonder Abdul Aziz Yari is being referred as agent of Buhari's change mantra. Yari is bringing development closer to the Zamfara people and the nation at large. Zamfara, the pride of the nation. This message is brought to you by Iowa Media Group.
2017 Convocation and Commissioning of Abwad Ultra-Modern Hospital. 28 October, 10 a.m. Convocation Lecture. The place and continued relevance of private university in Nigeria by Professor Peter Okebukola. 11:30 a.m. Commissioning of Abwad Ultra-Modern Hospital in partnership with Astor of Dubai and Abbott Laboratories, USA to provide international healthcare. 12:30 p.m. Fundraising and Endowment. 7:30 p.m. Founders Dinner and Awards. 21st October, 10 a.m. Convocation of 864 students and the conferment of honorary degrees on Professor Peter Okebukola and Dr. Douglas Jackson of Project Cure, USA. Expected guests from the Presidency, National Assembly, American Embassy, Ministers of Health and Education, NUC Executive Secretary, Professor Rashid Abubakar, Registrar, Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria, Dr. T.A.B. Sanusi, Supreme Court judges, all the judicial staff, members of the bar, vice chancellors, traditional leaders, and dignitaries from USA, Dubai, India, Britain, Denmark, and Nigeria. Abwad, providing the missing link.
The new frontier. What was once potential is now an opportunity ready to be seized. Once revered for our resources, today's wealth lies in our people. People who build the cities that shape the future. People who know an idea in one place means business in another. A generation for whom technology means there are no borders, no boundaries. We are the new lions in a brave new world, kings of the urban jungle. is a bank that puts the world in our pocket and the future in our hands. UBA, Africa's global bank.
There's such a thing as irresistible taste.
And you'll discover it in every pack of Chi Exotic. When you feel the need to just relax, get lost in the taste.
The taste of celebration.
So, indulge and get lost in the taste of the Chi Exotic range of delicious fruit blends.
Oh, I love the taste.
Chi Exotic Nectar. I love the taste.
Yes. But there's something else it gives us. When we see such beauty, we want to share it with those we love. That's what LG wants you to see. Just what we see now, through our technology. LG OLED TV.
Do you know that the Nigerian police now operates in the best international practices of policing? Do you know that the Nigerian police has been restructured to be more accountable and responsive to all your security challenges? Now, what the police demand from you is your trust, your collaborative efforts by providing necessary information about criminals and their activities in your neighborhood. Be vigilant. To achieve our creed as we promise, we shall police the country based on international core values of policing with integrity. We shall ensure that rule of law prevails in our actions and activities. We shall respect diversity, display courage, show compassion, and demonstrate professionalism. We shall operate within the principle of democratic policing. We shall shun corruption, and we shall make Nigeria safer and secured under the leadership of IGP Ibrahim Otum Idris.
Let the wind of change blowing across the country chase away crime for the benefit of our society. Yes, the Nigerian police says this change must come with peace and tranquility.
This message was brought to you by the Public Relations Department of the Nigerian Police Force.
You're still on to NTA News Extra, reaching you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. The Federal High Court sitting in Lagos has ordered the final forfeiture of the 56 houses linked to the former Minister of Petroleum, Dezani Alison Madueke, to the federal government. Justice Abdulaziz Ankara gave the order today in Lagos. Viera Chungoba has more on that.
The forfeiture order followed a motion by the EFCC seeking a permanent forfeiture of the 56 properties situated in Lagos and Port Harcourt. The said properties are valued at $22 million. The EFCC argued that the properties sought to be attached are reasonably suspected to be proceeds of unlawful activities. Justice Abdulaziz Ankara, in granting the motion, noted that there was no response to the applicant's motion on notice for final forfeiture by any of the respondents, in spite of being served with the hearing notice. Having listened to the submissions of the EFCC counsel, Mr. Anselm Ozioko, he granted the motion. Joined as respondents in the suit are Dezani Alison Madueke, former Petroleum Minister, Donald Chidi Amangbo, Chapel Properties Limited, Blue Nile Estate Limited, Azinga Made Use Limited, and Vista Point Property Development Limited. In Lagos, Viera Chungoba, NTA News.
Now, for their numerical strength, the youths must have a voice in Nigeria's project towards having a virile, united, and prosperous Nigeria. The All Progressives Congress, APC, seems to be aware of this, and so the party's Committee on True Federalism has held a public hearing in Abuja to get input from the younger generation. Political correspondent Abdullahi Garba Birnikudu was there and now reports.
Working under the guidance of 12 contending areas of derivation principles, fiscal federalism, devolution of powers, independent candidature, resource control, among other issues, the committee is now on the final stage of its assignment. It is now the turn of the younger generation to contribute their input towards an acceptably structured nation.
We cannot continue to blame President Buhari and the APC for the failure of Nigeria. Let us give powers to the local government, the government closest to the people, so that they can be responsible for the underdevelopment or the development of their people.
Our states are becoming states that are just states for the House of Assembly members and the governors. We need to balance the powers and civilize governance at that level.
The ladies were not left out, as this Fulani lady wants a new land tenure policy as a solution to farmers' herdsmen clashes.
Basically, my presentation was about creating a land tenure system that recognizes our nomadic lifestyle and also gives us the best quality of life possible within that nomadic lifestyle.
Earlier, while declaring the forum open, its chairman, Kaduna State Governor Nasiru Ahmad El-Rufai, described the opportunity as the first to be offered by any administration in Nigeria.
So let's use this opportunity to air out our views, to disagree very vehemently and openly, but finally come to some compromise about what our country should look like in the future.
The conversation continues with women groups and civil society organizations before the party will add up what it gave from 12 states already visited and finally submit its report to the APC national leadership. Abdullahi Garba.
Now the countdown seems to have begun. 2019. Well, with that, I don't have to explain what countdown I'm talking about. Strategies have also begun to manifest. For the PDP, its decision to zone the presidential candidature to the north remains valid and unshaken. The party's caretaker committee chairman, Ahmed Mohamed Magarfi, stated this in Abuja at a meeting of the PDP Northern Elders and Elders Forum. Again, Abdullahi Garba has the details of that report.
It was a go-through of all that matters in the PDP from the northern part of the country. The agenda is further consultations to have a common front against the oncoming national convention. The meeting also discussed the zoning arrangement of the party, reaffirming their resolution in zoning the party's presidential candidate to the north.
There is no confusion, but I will want all of us to exercise caution so that we don't introduce double standard in interpreting that resolution of convention. The convention only zone north-south. We must be ready to look inwards very deeply to come out with a very desirable president of this country.
Other party leaders advised members against divisive tendencies in arriving at a consensus in the party.
And you know, power comes from God. Therefore, let's not fight about this. We must wisely discuss. The best among us will emerge.
The PDP elective convention is to hold on December 9th, 2017. In Abuja, Abdullahi Garba Brunokudu, NTA News.
This thing. Well, now a thought for graduates out there. You have spent years studying for a career of your choice. You graduate with high expectations that the society will provide you a platform to attain your goals in life. However, you come face to face with the realities of the times as the exigencies of life itself and the quest for the right atmosphere to put that knowledge acquired to use for your personal benefit and that of society makes you disillusioned. Well, the legislature says there is a ray of hope for you to satisfy your quest for a better life ahead in providing a veritable platform for you to make that positive impact on the society and opportunities for job in public service. National Assembly correspondent Dennis Adeguloye tells us more.
The bill to address this is for an act to make it an offence for vacant positions in the federal civil service to be filled without them being advertised.
This bill was sponsored by Senator representing Ekiti South, Biodun Olujimi, and it seeks to put an end once and for all to this philosophy of who do you know, who are you connected to when it comes to recruitment into the service, and give a level playing field to applicants who are suitably qualified.
Employment in government parastatals, in most cases, is not based on merit,
but on godfatherism, favoritism, nepotism, and ethnicity. This has given rise to corruption and falling standards of education.
Does it mean those downtrodden, eminently qualified to be employed, if they don't have anybody to recommend them, that means they will not be employed? That is the meaning.
My discussion with a lot of youth groups, this was one of the things they raised, the fact that there are a lot of recruitments that people don't know about, and they feel that some people are being sidetracked. I think this will also help very much to help in this project of the unity of this country and for everybody to believe and have a sense of belonging.
A bill for an act to establish the National Electoral Offences Commission, sponsored by Senator representing Borno North Abubakar Kyari, also passed second reading.
It is unrealistic to expect INEC to conduct free, fair, and credible elections and simultaneously prosecute offences arising from the same elections.
I commend the government of late Yaradua in setting up the waste panel. For some of us, when this panel came in place, we thought this commission was going to be alive as soon as the job of the panel was completed.
All forms of rigging could not be better cured than having a commission specially set up for the purpose.
Raising a point of order on the recent resolution of the Senate to set up an ad hoc committee to look into the poor funding of embassies and missions abroad, Senate leader Ahmed Lawan suggested a reconsideration.
I think it is appropriate that the committee, our standing committee on foreign affairs, deals with this issue.
It is very clear that it's within the purview of the standing committee. Those in favor of this motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
The lawmakers continued with considerations of reports of committees on 2017 budgets of corporations and agencies of government. The considerations will continue at next plenary. From the National Assembly, Dennis Adegunloye, NTA News.
Still from the National Assembly, the House of Representatives is to investigate alleged importation of genetically modified maize into Nigeria by a private company. The legislators argued that apart from the health hazards of genetically modified products, its importation into the country will adversely affect Nigeria's agricultural development. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Unko has that report.
The controversies surrounding the introduction of genetically modified products into Nigeria has continued to create a wide range of concern across the country. Early September, media report alleged that Olam Group had imported 7 shiploads of genetically modified maize into Nigeria. At the House of Representatives, as the House of the Nigerian people, have resolved to investigate the matter. This followed a motion by Representatives Obinna Anwobuarire and Munir Dan Agunde.
Aware of the recent report in the Sun and Nigeria Today newspaper of 8 September 2017 over an alleged importation of 7 shiploads of maize by Oman Group.
It causes diabetic, it causes cancer.
We are killing our farmers. We have encouraged our farmers to go into mass production.
If we don't stop these people, Mr. Speaker, we are going back to where we are coming from.
Whether it's GMO, whether it's ordinary maize, the critical question to ask is that do we have enough in our country?
The issue of food products continued with a motion urging the federal government to declare state of emergency on the threat of malnutrition in Nigeria, moved by Representative Abubakar Amuda Kanike, as the legislators, through a motion by Representative Gaza Jonathan Wefi, also resolved to investigate the continuous exportation of food products banned for export. From agriculture to security matters, where the House resolved to investigate what it described as unwholesome practice by the operatives of the Federal Anti-Robbery Squad in Rivers State, moved by Representative Kingsley Chinda from the state. A motion on the urgent need to check the incessant cases of kidnapping and assassination in Edo State was adopted, moved by Representatives Omorige Obaide Ihama, Peter Patterson and Sajos Ogun, all from the state.
It is proper for this House to look into this situation and find out what exactly is happening in Rivers State and how to ensure that we guarantee security of the people in that state. It has become very urgent.
Convinced of the need to urgently call the attention of the Nigerian police force and other security agencies to beef up security and increase surveillance in Benin City and other parts of Edo State.
The issue of jungle justice in Nigeria has become a recurrent decimal, and as a matter of fact, members of the House of Representatives have passed for first reading a bill that seeks to criminalize jungle justice in Nigeria. Well, that bill originated from the Senate. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
In recent times, there have been concerns over the federal government's policy of yam export to earn more foreign currency under the federal government diversification initiative. Some are of the view that the export will lead to scarcity and high costs of the commodity here at home. These views have been refuted by both the government and producers of the commodity, and the exports to Europe and United States have commenced. But are yams from Nigeria being rejected at the international markets, as insinuated in some quarters? Well, Musa Baba Ali is out to give us an answer to that.
Yam is a staple food and source of income for millions of consumers, producers and processors in West and East Africa. Investigations show that about 40 to 50 million tons of yam are produced annually in West Africa on 4 million hectares of land. The four major yam producing countries are Nigeria, Ghana, Ivory Coast and Cameroon, with Nigeria alone producing 40 million tons on 3 million hectares of land.
There's a large market for this. You have this market in Canada, USA and other parts all over the world. China are requesting for our yams.
The export volumes for yam as at 2016 stood at over $20 billion. And Nigeria, being the largest producer of the commodity, is not a major key player in the international trade of the produce. Nigeria is gradually tackling the challenges stopping her from taking her rightful position in the international yam business. And the country's yam are accepted in all the international markets that demanded the produce from Nigeria.
We are doing interstate, taking yam from Abuja to various places in Nigeria. Meanwhile, as now the door have opened for us now to be exporting yam outside, maybe we'll see that our income will now increase, and more so the country will now benefit towards the foreign exchange that we'll have.
There was a news item about yams arriving in Britain and being rejected. They were not. They stayed too long en route. And if they stayed that long, they were bound to rot. It happens to yams from Ghana as well, once in a while. But we will not stop the policy of exportation of yams.
I've moved about 2 containers of 40 feet. And one 40-foot container contains about 1,000 to 1,200 cartons of 25 kg each.
Survey carried out by NTA shows that the price of yam has dropped nationwide as the new harvest has continued to flood the markets. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
And still remaining with agriculture, if you see something, say something. Sounds familiar, right? What of this? If you plant something, you will harvest something. This planting something and harvesting something is the song farmers in Katsina State are singing. In fact, they have crashed prices of foodstuff in the markets there with this year's planting, which led to bumper harvests. Aminu Ishaq Abbas reports that the combination of good climatic condition, right inputs at the right time, and government's positive disposition towards agriculture are the driving force behind their success story. Well, Aminu, let's hear from you.
Statistics show that farmers in Katsina State have put into use 360 hectares of land in this year's farming season and expected to produce 280 metric tons of assorted grains at an average of 2 to 5 metric tons per hectare. The state recorded 2,822 millimeters of rain, which lasted for 4 to 5 months. In addition to this, state and federal government roll out incentives to farmers, which served as a motivating factor.
They are because of the support
both the federal and the state governments are given to agriculture in all aspects. You can see now what happened. At the end now we can be able to see that we can smile, because this year the farmers are experiencing a bumper harvest.
Markets in the state have been flooded with new farm produce, which makes food items affordable to the common man. Dankama market is one of the largest grains market in Kaduna State. Prices at the market show that there's the drastic reduction in food prices. A bag of beans, which was 48,000 naira, is now sold at 20,000 naira. A bag of maize is 10,000 naira as against 18,000 naira. The price of a bag of millet dropped from 20,000 naira to 8,000 naira.
Now the farmers are able to produce their own commodities. They have no money in the in pocket, so they don't have any alternative but to bring out whatever they produce in large quantities. And then if you bring out what you have in large quantities and people have no money outside, there is no way, you have to cut down the price.
The consensus among agricultural experts in the state is that beyond forcing down the prices of food items, farmers in the state have the capacity to produce more for exports. In Katsina, Amini Shakabas, NTA News.
Let's take another break now, and when we return, we shall be looking at some issues of security. Stay with us.
Invite the general public to the milestone flag-off ceremony of the construction of the 120 billion naira Boni Bodo Road project by His Excellency the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, SANGCON, on Thursday, 12th of October 2017 at 11 a.m. Chief host, the Executive Governor of Rivers State, His Excellency Barrister Nyesom Wike. Host Minister, Babatunde Raji Fashola, SAN. Royal Father of the Day, the Amayanabo of ancient Grand Boni Kingdom, King Edward Asimini William Dapa Pepple III, JPCON Perekule 11. Hosts, the Managing Director of Nigeria LNG Limited, Mr. Tony Atta, and his deputy, Mr. Sadiq Meiborno. The 34-kilometer road project is part-funded by Nigeria LNG to the tune of 60 billion naira. Nigeria LNG Limited, helping to build a better Nigeria.
Where innovation begins. The brain, LG Inverter Technology. Better performance. More energy savings. Now in the entire lineup at LG.
Kickstart your family's day with nutritious Monroe Glucose D. It's the healthier way to add taste to your beverages and cereals. When you're in need of instant energy, Monroe Glucose D will deliver fast. Monroe Glucose Monroe Glucose D is extra fortified with calcium and vitamin D to help you stay strong and active all day. Monroe Glucose D. Instant energy. Fast.
With Happy Cover from Leadway Assurance, you'll be covered for, well, almost anything. From automobile cover...
Boys, pay nicely!
...to house... ...to personal cover. All with one single premium.
Pay nicely with your brother. That's it, we're going home.
That was close.
Yes, luckily I have Happy Cover.
Oh, I have Happy Cover too. Sorry about your house.
Actually, I have Happy Cover also, so... Maybe he needs happy. Live happy with Leadway Assurance, ensuring happiness since 1970.
The family of Okon has been taken hostage by an evil-looking creature.
When Amatem Fort appear, malaria run for cover. Amatem Fort I get some gel capsules, tablets for adults, and suspension for pikin. Amatem does not eat somebody and are very easy to use. Remember how Amatem Fort I get scratch pin to confirm the original, and I get some gel capsules. Amatem. Say no to malaria, yes to life.
Guy, make I rush go pay for my Go TV now like this.
Now say your leg dey scratch you. You know see say Cookie Teller pay point today here, say if you pay Go TV here. My brother go that place to go pay because Cookie Teller pay point. Now he pay pass.
Oh, see how oily I am. It'll take forever to clean this.
Take it easy, Pan. Your days of endless scrubbing are over. Madame just bought Sunlight dishwashing liquid.
What do you know about a Pan's life?
This advanced formulation has real lemon juice that'll cut through all those stains fast in just one wipe.
Wow, that was fast.
See how easy it is to remove oil in one wipe? Sunlight dishwashing liquid removes oil stains in just one wipe.
It's really a pleasure to have you back on News Extra tonight. President Muhammadu Buhari has congratulated Mr. Zanna Mustafa on winning the UNHCR Nansen Refugee Award for the year 2017. In a statement by the Special Advisor to the President of Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, President Buhari believes that Mustafa, who has inspired many humanitarian organizations, earned the award because of his courage, hard work, and extraordinary commitment to the welfare of the internally displaced persons in the country. This, the president said, he did at the risk of his life and therefore enjoins all Nigerians to emulate his selfless service. Now, Operation Python Dance. That coinage intrigued me, and I guess a lot of Nigerians. It conjured images of the Tiv Swange dance. That operation, many believe, was successful. But are you aware of another operation going on in the Niger Delta with another intriguing name? This one is Operation Crocodile Smile. Thank God it is not Crocodile Tears. Now, the Army says Operation Crocodile Smile is aimed at tackling criminality and other emerging security challenges in the Niger Delta. This is what the GOC 82 Division Major General Adamu Abubakar told Umar Basi Edet at the launch of the exercise in Ikang, Cross River State. Now, Umar, tell us how broad this Crocodile Smile is.
The operation commenced from Ikang Jetty in Bakassi local government area of Cross River State, with the general officer commanding, accompanied by the commander 13th Brigade Nigerian Army, Brigadier General Ismaila Isa, and other senior officers. From the creeks of Bakassi, the troop traversed the high sea bordering Nigeria and Cameroon with drills to show their combat readiness. Major General Abubakar said the operation is an indication of Nigerian Army's determination to bring to an end the prevailing robbery, destruction of national assets, and other forms of criminalities within Niger Delta. He expressed optimism that the exercise would record success like previous operations.
What we have done on the land is what we are doing. And Crocodile Smile cut across 3 or 4 divisions, 81 division, 2 divisions, 6 division, and 82 division, is to exploit the gains of Egweke 2. What we have done this afternoon is to conduct an aggressive patrol of the coastal area of Cross River State.
Operation Crocodile Smile 2, apart from military exercises, includes medical outreach in rural communities. In Calabar, Umar Basidate, NTA News.
Now, this next story scares me. In fact, somebody the other day asked if Nigerians have offended God. If it is not Lassa fever, it is Ebola or chicken pox. The other time it was avian influenza, and now we are holding our breaths in fear over suspected monkeypox. The reported outbreak of this pox in some parts of the country is generating a lot of anxiety. And the Nigerian Center for Disease Control says it is on top of the situation and is working in conjunction with the affected states. The director of the center, Dr. Chukwe Ihekeazu, also told Rabi Abdallah that laboratory results from samples to ascertain whether or not the disease is truly monkeypox are almost ready.
Critical priority for us at the moment is to confirm the illness, and by the end of today or tomorrow we should have the first results back from the labs relating to the outbreak in Bayelsa, and that will then inform our response to all the other cases across the country.
Between the 22nd of September, when suspected cases of monkeypox was detected in Bayelsa State, and Friday, the 6th of October, when it was made public, statistics from the Nigerian Center for Disease Control indicates that there are currently 33 suspected cases reported in 7 states, comprising Bayelsa, Rivers, Lagos, Ogun, Ekiti, Akwa Ibom, and Cross River.
None of these are confirmed. In fact, it's unlikely that they will be. What is more likely to be happening here is that, firstly, we have increased our surveillance across the country. But the truth is there are several other diseases that can cause similar symptoms. And we think people are now reporting every significant rash as being monkeypox. Our responsibility at NCDC is not to discard any of that, investigate and make sure we provide the states the information they need to respond.
I am right inside the Incident Coordinating Center here at the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, and sitting beside me it's Dr. Adesola Uguneye. She is the incident manager here.
This was activated to respond to the suspected monkeypox outbreak. So right here we have our team working on various aspects of the response, contacting the state, sample transportation and communication team, which have also been relating with the public and sending out messages.
The current suspected monkeypox outbreak is one the NCDC officials say should boost the universal precaution of the use of hand gloves by health workers and hand wash culture among the populace. In Abuja, Rabi Abdallah, NTA News.
And from Abuja, we take you to Calabar, the Cross River state capital, where the government is keen into the universal health coverage policy with the launch of a home care health service, which is aimed at providing free medical services to rural dwellers in the state. Uduak Etim now completes the report.
Tagged Ayade Home Care Service, the initiative seeks to also reach out to the vulnerable group in the state to ensure their well-being. Governor Ben Ayade, who described the gesture as the first of its kind, said it is the responsibility of his government to provide prompt, free and quality health care to his people in their homes.
What used to be our major problem is trying to take medicine to hard-to-reach areas. The people of Cross River State do understand, and under my leadership, we also understand the core objective of governance that makes any meaning or essence other than the welfare of the people. And when it comes to the welfare of the people, health comes first.
Director General Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Dr. Betta Idu, said the project is community-based and throw more light on how it operates.
Over 230 communities in Cross River State. And right now we are down here in the south at the Yongabatam in Odukpani local government, and we will be visiting several other communities. All we're doing is to start the home care system.
At one of the benefiting communities, Sisongi Yangobio Sierra, in Odukpani local government area, beneficiaries lauded Ayade's administration for providing comprehensive, qualitative and free health care for them, and urged government to sustain its policy.
So I appreciate the program. Even the government can institute a health center here, and with a good health medical team, I think our problem will be over.
So we are appreciating the government of Professor Ben Ajade for having recognized an interior village like us.
The Cross River State government says it will take healthcare services to all nooks and crannies of the state for the benefit of its citizenry. Udwak Etam, NTA News.
Now, when last did you write a letter and use the post office? With the advent of the internet and social media, letter writing and other postal services seem to be diminishing, except for postage stamps that are needed for certain transactions. In this report, Adebola Brooksland Sunday takes a look at the effects of the social media and internet on postal service and how the post can remain an essential component of the global economy.
Sending of letters, parcels and documents were usually done using the postal service. But now, most people have resorted to using social media in sending their messages.
NIPOS, wow, it's been a long time.
Grew up to find everything very modernized, like the WhatsApp, Facebook.
NIPOS and postal services.
Minister of Communications Adebayo Shitu, while launching an innovative game-changing program, says the Nigerian Postal Service, NIPOST, has introduced reforms such as e-stamp, money order, e-commerce, as well as mail track and trace to help it contribute more to the gross domestic products GDP of the country.
Again, we are thinking of introducing what will be called NIPOS e-government services. E-government services means all the services that government provides for citizens.
Postmaster General of the Federation, Adebisi Adegbuyi, says the reforms have also helped in job and wealth creation.
Because we have diversified, because other income streams will now come into play on financial services, on e-commerce, on payments, on mobile wallets, these people will be earning commission.
For the Postmaster General, the social media is a blessing in disguise.
Online merchandising, popularly called e-commerce, that is exponentially growing. And there is no way you buy anything online without delivery. And which institution has that reach? The network, the wide network, other than NIPOST.
He urged Nigerians to take advantage of the rebranded NIPOST to unlock the global market space for offline and online businesses, which will go a long way in boosting the economic base of the nation. Adebola Brooksland Sunday, NTA News.
Well, it's time for another short break. Don't go away. I'll be right back.
Unemployment, notably youth unemployment, features strongly in our party's manifesto. We intend to attack the problem promptly through revival of agriculture.
The 30K is going a long way. Actually, I bought an acre of land for 60K like 2012, and presently I have a cassava farm and a yam farm.
Hot and dry condition causes the body to sweat, which attracts germs that are easily passed from one person to another. Dettol Cool combines Dettol's protection and an invincible icy feel for super cool confidence. Use Dettol Cool.
The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, is working to ensure access to safe, good quality essential medicines with the World Health Organization pre-qualification of made in Nigeria pharmaceutical products, stiffer penalties for fake drug offenders with a review of NAFDAC laws, national, regional, and international collaborations, cutting-edge technologies, including the mobile authentication service.
The production and distribution of counterfeit medicine and adulterated food products have negative impact on our health and economy as a whole. I urge all Nigerians to support NAFDAC in safeguarding our health. God bless Nigeria.
Let us support NAFDAC to win the war against fake drugs and other unwholesome regulated products. NAFDAC, safeguarding the health of the nation.
You're welcome back. Now, in no distant time, one of the foremost oil and gas capacity building centers, the Petroleum Training Institute, PTI, would become a world-class training center for professionals in the oil and gas sector. The reason for this assertion by the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Dr. Ibe Kachiku, is not far-fetched, as the federal government has injected the sum of 200 million naira to kickstart its digitization process. Helen Dunku reports that this was one of the fallouts of the discuss at the Institute's convocation ceremony.
With the steady implementation of the petroleum industry and the financial will of 200 million naira invested in the digitization of the Petroleum Training Institute, provisions of local content expertise in the oil and gas sector could liken to a walk in the park. Minister for State Petroleum Resources, Ibe Kachiku, represented by the Permanent Secretary, Shadeyemi Eson, said PTI needs to complement ongoing efforts towards implementing the country's oil and gas policy in terms of training and development of local content.
I therefore like to assure you that government is deeply committed to this project and will ensure the release of more funds until the digital PTI dream is achieved.
In the 2017 budget, we had some gains, but we believe that in this 2018 budget that is coming, there are better prospects, for improved funding for this institute.
The principal and chief executive of the institute, Professor Sani Iyuke, said since oil exploration and exploitation have moved offshore, PTI is moving in that direction.
I wish to appeal to PTI to complete the imposed steps, the new academic building, the renovation of printing press, and installation of training equipment, which are on ground.
The best overall mechanical engineering student, Michael Ntong, made a 3.86 aggregate in the higher national diploma, while the best graduating petroleum engineering student finished with a 3.65 aggregate. A total of 1,102 persons graduated from different fields of study at this year's convocation. An elder statesman, Chief Edwin Clark, was among the 3 recipients conferred with the Award of Fellows. The minister was earlier conducted around the exhibition pavilion. In Efru, Helen Dunku, NTA News.
Well, so far so good, but before we go, we take our last commercial break on the program.
The families of the late Chief Christopher Keke Momo and Obo Migie of Ivia Dachi quarters of Fuga, Esako Central Local Government Area of Edo State, announced the transition of their dearly beloved wife, mother and grandmother, Chief Mrs. Elizabeth Olere Momo. She is survived by many children, including Mrs. Stella Musa, Management Consultant, Paralet Nigeria Limited, Mr. Charles Momo, Chairman Eco Electricity Distribution PLC Lagos, and Mrs. Pauline Igbano, Zonal Director NTA Benin Network Center. Funeral arrangement: Friday, October 13, Requiem Mass at Christ the King Catholic Church, Fuga, 10 a.m. prompt. Interment and entertainment of guests follow thereafter. There will be traditional burial rites at the family compound Iuhasa, Fuga, on Saturday, October 15, and a Thanksgiving Mass at Christ the King Catholic Church, Fuga, on Sunday, October 16 at 9 a.m. Signed, Mr. Charles Momo, Chairman, Eco Electricity Distribution PLC, Lagos.
You'll never be unhappy again.
Gratitude to God for a life well spent. We announce the passing on to glory of our husband, father, and uncle, Afamefuna Christian Egenti, who slept in the Lord on 11th of August 2017. Burial arrangements: 12th of October 2017. Christian wake at his residence, Akiyi Village in Enugu Uku Town, Njikoka local government area of Anambra State. Time 5 p.m. 13th of October 2017, burial mass at St. Francis Catholic Church, Urunebo Village at Enugu Uku Town. Time 10 a.m. Burial activities continue at his residence after the burial mass. Afamefuna Christian Egenti joined the services of NTA on 16th December 1974 and retired on 16th December 2009 after 35 years of service. He is survived by wife, children, aged mother, cousins, sisters, brothers, nephews, nieces, uncles, aunties, and other relations. May his gentle soul continue to rest in perfect peace. Announcer, the family.
Well, it's on that note we draw the curtains on the program tonight. We sincerely hope you've enjoyed being with us, as well as we enjoyed being with you. We'll be here again, same time, same station next week with another interesting package. Until then, on behalf of everyone out here, thank you for joining us and have a pleasant night rest.
This is the network service of the NTA.
This bill seeks to amend the long title of because we want to ensure that things are done right. Service of night.
Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.